Born in 1930, Kataba grew up in Imperial Japan, where her childhood was shaped by militaristic propaganda, extreme nationalism, and the devastation of World War II. She was 15 when the war ended, and the post-war years of her life were dominated by poverty, hunger, and disillusionment with her government and nation. In 1948, at the age of 18, Kataba became obsessed with a young man at her high school. She desired a relationship with him, but faced competition from 10 other girls who were also pursuing him. After using various methods, including lethal ones, to eliminate those 10 girls, she confessed to the young man she loved, who accepted her feelings. However, her joy would be short-lived. With the war over, the United States' focus had shifted to their rising tensions with the Soviet Union, marking the beginning of the Cold War. The U.S. was particularly concerned about the spread of communism, especially in East Asia, where movements in China, Korea, and Vietnam were gaining momentum. Japan, given its geographic location and economic potential, was seen as a crucial counterbalance to communist influence in Asia. The U.S. sought to prevent the spread of communism in the region by using Japan as a forward base to support anti-communist efforts in nearby countries. For this reason, and many others, the United States maintained a presence in Japan in the post-war years. American intelligence agencies, especially the newly formed Central Intelligence Agency, assisted Japanese police in investigating the mysterious deaths and disappearances of high school girls in Kataba's neighborhood. Their investigation eventually led them to identify Kataba as the serial killer that they had been pursuing. However, before facing trial, she was offered a deal. During their investigation into Kataba's murders, the CIA had become genuinely impressed with her remarkable talent for committing various different types of crimes while leaving almost no traces of her actions. The CIA even started to perceive Kataba as a perfect example of the type of agent they needed for covert operations in East Asia, particularly against communist targets. After being caught, Kataba was offered a pardon for her crimes as long as she agreed to work as a deniable asset for the CIA in the Far East, a spy, an assassin, or whatever else the situation called for. She agreed under the condition that she would be allowed to continue seeing the young man she loved, and that he would be provided with the wealth necessary to live a comfortable life. After her recruitment, Kataba underwent extensive training from both Japan's intelligence apparatus and the CIA. She was taught new combat skills, and also techniques for surveillance, counterintelligence, sabotage, and covert assassination. Her natural abilities as a serial killer were refined and honed until she was a living weapon against the enemies of the US and Japan. Kataba was deployed in nearby countries, Korea, China, and sometimes even Soviet territory. Due to her ethnicity, she blended into Asian settings much easier than Western agents could. Also, as a woman, she leveraged gender stereotypes to her advantage, going undercover in ways that male agents couldn't. When needed, she acted as a seductress, but always stayed loyal to her husband back home. Her missions included assassinations, espionage, and sabotage. She eliminated communist sympathizers, spies, and political figures working against US or Japanese interests. She collected intelligence on Chinese and Soviet military operations in East Asia. Once, she even participated in an effort to destabilize a government in Southeast Asia, where communism was gaining traction. She gave birth to a daughter in 1950, but due to the need to constantly visit other countries for long periods of time, she was absent for much of her daughter's early childhood. She was deathly afraid that her daughter would never be able to develop any love for her, and attempted to compensate for her long absences by spoiling her daughter rotten at every opportunity she had. By the early 60s, Kataba's age was beginning to catch up with her. She knew that her career was nearing its end. After training her successors and one final mission in 1964, she was allowed to retire from her career as a CIA asset. After that last mission, she was granted a full pardon for her crimes in the 40s, and was also paid enough money to live comfortably for the rest of her life. She has never spoken about what her final mission entailed, but sometimes jokes that she saved the world from nuclear annihilation in the 60s. She laughs heartily whenever she tells this joke, but sometimes B can be seen staring off into the distance with a melancholy expression on her face, as if she is thinking about sacrifices made by herself and others many long years ago. Given her violent history and dark past, the CIA considered Kataba, too,